Welcome everyone to another edition of Willie B Drinks Beers. I'm Willie B and I have a fantastic beer for us to try today. So after popular request, or at least 50-50 debate on Instagram as to whether I should have a stout first or a West Coast IPA, we have both recorded the stout episode, and I'm also about to record for you right now the West Coast IPA edition. So a friend of mine brought these fresh back from Michigan very kindly, and this is Old Nation again. We talked about the beer M43, the classic New England IPA, in another episode, but in this episode we're going to focus on West Coast IPA. And of course I have had the KC West Coast IPA, and that was great, and I'm looking forward to trying this. I have actually tried it before and it is good, but this time I'm going to do a bit of a deeper dive into the hops for you. So without further ado, I'm going to crack this right now. Oh, slight spill there. Right, let's pour this out. So as you see, a bit of a fluffy head. I'm just gonna let the first little bit go down. But as you can see, it's kind of like a little bit of a hazy West Coast IPA. I know that New England's classically associated with the hazy look, but that's not to say that these beers can't be hazy as well. But I mean, it's kind of semi-translucent, a nice yellowy straw color, good old head. And after some research and confirmation, I can confirm that there is an article that the Independent published. The Independent's a UK newspaper, and they published an article where they interviewed a beer geek and basically asked him about whether you should hard pour or not. And he did in fact confirm that any carbonation that's not released in the pour will be released in your stomach. So bear that in mind maybe when you're pouring beers again. Maybe for convenience you'd rather tip it, get to your beer quickly. But maybe you're more concerned about what kind of gas will be released in your stomach. So maybe you want to take some of the pain out of that bloaty feeling that you can sometimes have from drinking beer. Anyway, let's look at what the can says. So it says it's 6.8% and 75 international bitterness units, the IBU. So 72. So that's kind of it's getting up there. That's fairly bitter actually. I think I probably not had much more than 100. I remember a Mikkeller series of Danish brewery brewed lots of different the same kind of beer, I think, with different bitterness levels, so I think I probably got up to like 120 on that when I tried that, so that would be very intense. But 72, it's good solid West Coast bitterness that you come to expect. We're looking for dank flavors, of course, with dank and piney flavors with the West Coast. The malt is Pilsner, so it should be like light and flaky almost, just not a nice airy head. You can kind of see it here. It's not super creamy foamy, but more like airy, like an Aero, that chocolate bar. I can't remember if they sell it in the US, but they definitely sell it in the UK, and you can Google it if you haven't heard of it. But yeah, this beer is called 70 Plus. It's part of the New Orthodox India Pale Ale series, just like its kind of sister beer, the M43, and it is 1 pint. And interestingly, they actually reveal which are the boil hops and the dry hops. So the boil hops will give you bitterness, and the dry hops will give you more aroma. And the boil hops are Columbus, Simcoe, and Amarillo. Now, I did a bit of research and confirmed some of the actual profiles of these hops. So I'm going to read these to you. Columbus is up first. This is punchy hoppiness, deep aroma, subtle citrus notes. And this is a dual use hop, so it can be used in both the boil and, for bittering hops and as aroma hops in the dry hopping. And indeed, it is used in both ways in this beer. And the same applies to Simcoe and Amarillo, the other hops that are featured here. So they've both been employed in a dual manner. Simcoe, bright citrus flavors with earthy undertones, aromas of grapefruit, pine and herbs. And then Amarillo is orange citrus flavor. So it's a very classic hop. And then the last one is Idaho 7, piney, tropical, fruity, citrusy, earthy and floral flavors and aromas. And this is identified here actually as an aroma hop, and sure enough, Old Nation have decided to employ it in that way, so it's just been used after the boil in the dry hopping phase. It says keep cold and drink fresh, and we are obeying those rules because they are some good guidelines for drinking beer. So I'm just finishing my pour. And what else? Government warning, of course. Brewed and canned by Old Nation Brewing Company, Williamston, Michigan. I believe it's in the Grand Rapids area. And then there's some further information. We've made IPAs of all kinds in our 20 years of craft brewing. Wow, that's quite a long time for craft brewing. But the classic West Coast IPA is one of our absolute favorites. To us, West Coast IPA is about a straight down the middle Pilsner malt bill and hops, which brings lots of pine and citrus notes to create a dry, hoppy and aromatic ale like none other. For the hops in 70 plus, we chose the classic Columbus and Simcoe hops for their pine-like contribution, along with Amarillo for citrus and floral notes, and the proprietary Idaho 7 for a new school tropical twist. What was old is new in 70 plus. So really, they've just kind of tried to keep things simple, tried to brew a quintessential West Coast IPA, but obviously they've added Idaho 7 to kind of give it that tropical twist. So it's kind of like a bit of a merging almost of East Coast and West Coast, and based in the Midwest. Maybe they're not sure. We're not really East Coast, but we're definitely not West Coast. So let's just put a little bit of West Coast hops in, or West Coast style into an otherwise East Coast style. Sorry, some East Coast style into an otherwise West Coast style beer. So yeah, we got to get our styles right. I'm definitely smelling a lot of tropical flavors. Obviously, I'm influenced by what I'm reading, but I have had this before, and I'm kind of smelling the same things. And I do smell some dankness in the background. All right, cheers. You know what, the tropical nature of this beer is strong. It's coming through really nicely. The kind of mouthfeel is not too spritzy and sparkling, but it's not super smooth and creamy. So it's probably about what you'd expect for a lot of West Coast IPAs. There's a good amount of sweetness actually. While I do taste the bitterness, it's not intensely bitter. I mean, as I kind of breathe in and out, I can sort of feel this hop vapor almost in my mouth and in my throat, and it's kind of nice. It's almost like the afterburn of a chili or something like that, but not quite as strong. But it's pleasant beer, very high on the drinkability scale. I would definitely say if you can find this beer locally, you should definitely get it. But solid beer yet again. Fortunately, we've been able to drink great beers together on this show so far, and I hope to continue that. But when the bad beers come, that'll be some fun too. Anyway, cheers. This has been Willie B Drinks Beer.